So I'm Officer Zavala from the Kaiser Police Department, currently assigned to the resource officer for McNary High School. So I chose being an SRO because I've coached in our community here, youth sports for going on about 20 years, and I understood even back then when I first started coaching, how positive an influence that I could be, as not only as a person but as a law enforcement officer, once the parents and the kids found out what I did for a job, and that really changed their perspective on how they looked at me, so to speak. And so they really enjoyed the fact that, hey, here I was as a police officer coaching their children in various sports. Once our position came open for our school resource officer here at our agency, I wanted to continue to do that. I wanted to be able to not only be an positive influence as a person and law enforcement officer, police officer for our juveniles while outside of work, but also while working. And being an SRO allowed me to do that by being in the schools Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, to be able to be that influence for those students. I see my primary role as being providing a safe learning environment for the 2,000 students at McNary and the staff. And that's just not me doing that. That is me working with the school administration and working with campus security to be able to provide that sense of security for everybody that's within the building. I feel that I help students every day, contrary to maybe popular belief, but I mean, being just there and having a student come in and say, hey, I need to talk to Officer Zavala. They come in, they sit down, they explain to me what may be a concern, maybe at school, it could be, and a lot of times it's concerns that they have at home. They just want somebody to talk to about, hey, how do I deal with this? How do I deal with my mom and dad fighting at home? How do I deal with bullying at the school? How do I deal with people sharing certain things about me on social media? What can I do? It may not lead to a criminal investigation, but at least I'm able to give them some guidance and talk to them about what can happen. There are students that come to me about things that happen at home over the weekend and report it to me versus reporting it to the police over the weekend. And I would ask them, like, why didn't you call 911 at the time? Or why didn't you call the police? Well, I just didn't feel comfortable talking to them. I'd rather wait till Monday morning to come talk to you. So those are small examples of how I help students. One of the bigger or better, I guess, examples is we had a student who has been diagnosed with some mental health issues, prescribed medication, having home problems at home, they didn't want to live at home. Mom and dad, well, I shouldn't say mom and dad, mom basically kicked him out. He was getting contacted by the police, getting truancy, not say truancy, but curfew violations, and he was spiraling downhill. I was able to find all this out about that student, worked with the student, worked with the school district to find how can we find this student housing, how can we get the funding to help provide the medication for the student that he's needed, and also how can I put this information out to our law enforcement agency, the police department here, is this is who this person is, these are the struggles that he's going through. If you can cut him a break, cut him a break. If it's a violation, which we have discretion whether or not to issue that citation, please do so. If he's committed a crime, you have to go by what the person did. But by me sending out this email, sending out a photo to our police department saying this is who this kid is, this is his history, we are working with him at the school, not only just me, but the school and the school district to provide a home for the student, to provide the student medication and the resources that he needs to be successful. I'd be grateful if they allowed me to work with them versus them taking action in the evenings after school. So that I think went a long ways because I did after that get a bunch of emails from people saying, hey, I contacted this student, an email us about this is what's going on. So I can bring the student in then, and then I can talk to the student about, hey, this is what I know, this is what we need to do, what else can we do to help you? Eventually, we were able to get that student to get on his medications. He was given housing, And he was able, not because of me, but because of the school district working with him, particularly McNary, is to get him his GED and get him in the positive direction versus the direction, like I said, he was spiraling downhill, where he could have gone a whole different direction. That, I guess, is one good example of how I was involved in helping a student. And again, to be able to get his GED, get some housing, get his feet underneath him, and not be a statistic in a negative way. There has been a lot of criticism regarding the SRO program, and not to get into a lot of it, but the thing that I think I could best ask of individuals is to educate themselves on actually what an SRO does. And then understand how an SRO works with the school district and the community to better serve their students that are attending these schools. I think once they learn that, once they're educated and understand how it truly works, I truly think that they would see it differently.